The Tennis Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by EdgeBoost. Think of the sign up today, edgeboost.peppercode.hpn, and get a free Refs or Terrorist t-shirt. Claim your shirt today at sportsgambling.com/refs. We're also brought to you by NYR Bets. Get your $25 free bet for the Belmont by going to nyrbets.com/SGPN25, promo code SGPN25. And welcome, everybody, to the Tennis Game Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network. It's currently Monday night, June 2nd, around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Rosa Scott Reichel, once again going solo for this pod. Time to get into the preview of the quarterfinal matches taking place on Tuesday and Wednesday. On the men's side, we're going to break down the 4 matchups taking place. Should be fun. We're also going to recap some of the quarter stuff that we have so far for the event. But overall, it's been an entertaining tournament so far. Has gotten pretty chalky lately, to be fully honest. We have had a couple of Cinderella runs or upsets here or there, but for the most part, it's been pretty chalky. And we'll see what happens moving forward in the quarterfinals. Before we get into any of the recap of the round 16, a reminder that we do have a couple of lock and dog picks to recap. Starting off, we had a decent day, not exactly the most amazing round, but it was good for the most part. We got most of it right. However, did pick a pretty rough lock choice. We had Papiron a plus 1.5 sets, a minus 143. Didn't work out as he got absolutely destroyed. An embarrassing showing. It seemed like Paul didn't even do much to actually destroy him, but Papiron played the worst match he's played in a long time. He was awful. He couldn't do anything right the entire match. He was 1 for 10 on breakpoint chances. It was just disgusting tennis. He was really, really bad. No way around that. Picked up a loss there for the lock. Nice win, though, for the dog, as we had Musetti to win the match and both players win a set, and that was never in doubt as Musetti and Rune split the first 2 sets. Then Musetti took over, and he won in 4. Nice win there at plus 144. So basically broke even, but Papiron having that bad of a performance, losing in straight sets, was embarrassing. And I also pivoted to that lock at the last second, which kind of sucks. But either way, point is, it was a really bad call there for the lock, nice call there for the dog, and we'll try to keep rolling here for the quarterfinals. Now, before we get into the bigger recap of the round of 16, a reminder, they can help support the show. Like, subscribe on YouTube, and reminder, you'll leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Think we're like 20 away, give or take, 15 away. So hopefully you can help us get there by next episode. So hopefully you've been enjoying the content if you are new to the program. Plus, a reminder, don't forget to check out the merch store on the SGPN website. We have a lot of great Tennis Game Podcast merch with sweatshirts, t-shirts, and mugs. High quality, very affordable, different colors. Recommend getting yourself something there. And a reminder that we do have the Stanley Cup Final and the NBA Finals, which are happening this week. And you can get in on all of the action with our free picks. SGPN's free picks and podcasts are available on the SGPN app. Free to download. Don't forget to check out the app in the App Store. Moving on to the actual recap of the round of 16, starting off with the matches that took place on Sunday. Start off by mentioning the lock, and Paul ended up destroying Papiron. Wasn't close. I really don't think Paul did anything the entire match, at least watching the whole thing. I thought Papiron was awful. I think that at the end of the day, he was just in really bad form, and it was kind of shocking how bad he played. He got a break in the first game of the match, never broke again, and it felt like every single point he was a ticking time bomb that was eventually going to hit an unforced error, and he just completely unraveled. It's kind of just how it went. So either way, Paul ended up coasting a very nice, easy win for him. Because he needed it. He had a bunch of 5-setters. He was bad on the abdomen issue, and then he was able to win very quickly against Papiron. So definitely what he needed before he faced off against Alcaraz in the next round. But as for the recap of that match, Paul got an A on the group project, and he really didn't do anything. It felt like his opponent forgot how to play tennis. That's kind of how that went, but either way, picked up a loss there for the lock, but it wasn't even close. I see Ginger asking about the background. That's in my apartment. I'm not in my apartment right now, so we still have the wooden background. It's just not available at the moment because I'm elsewhere. So I'm not in the apartment right now. But either way, truth is, yeah, Ghost, I know that it's been corrected before on the show. Papiron, I think is how people pronounce it. Truth is, after that bad of a performance, I will intentionally mispronounce his last name. I'll pronounce it correctly when he earns our trust again. But damn, he doesn't deserve to have his last name pronounced correctly after that performance. So yes, however you want to end up phrasing it, I know that it's technically pronounced Papiron, but he doesn't deserve that after what happened today, yesterday. So either way, point is that did not work out for him. Either way, though, moving on to the other matches for the round of 16, saw Alcaraz beat Shelton in 4. That one we actually called. Alcaraz did win while dropping a set. We thought Shelton would keep it somewhat close, like the team total over for Alcaraz. That got there easily, as he eventually did win in 4. Feels like every Alcaraz match is kind of the same at this point. where he wins the first 2 sets. He should have lost the first set. Shelton had a bunch of set points, choked them all away, but then eventually he punted the 3rd set and then eventually rallied to win the 4th. So it feels like we've seen a bit of deja vu with Alcaraz's recent matches. Saw it again. Shelton played well. He just fumbled so many chances away to potentially make the match very interesting. But either way, match was competitive, and Alcaraz did get the job done there in 4. Saw Tiafoe beat Altmaier in straight sets, which was kind of shocking to me. I thought Altmaier would win at least 1 set. That didn't happen, and you saw Tiafoe win comfortably. Good for him, who's been really bad outside of America for the last couple years, but he looked great in the first couple rounds. He's kept it rolling. He is also going through the actual numbers and stats right now. He has dropped a grand total of 0 sets, which is definitely not expected, and props to him for beating Altmaier. I thought it'd be a close match, and it wasn't. I thought 5 sets was on the card, and that just didn't happen, as Tiafoe won pretty comfortably, even though there was a tie break in the 3rd set. Moving on, though, to Musetti, was able to beat Rune. It feels like his matches are pretty similar as well, as he has also been dropping sets recently, but he's been able to win. Great clay player, top 5 clay player in the world. Rune looked pretty decent early. First set was very close. Second set, he won. I don't know if he tweaked something in that 3rd set, but I did notice that it looked like he was a little bit uncomfortable with something in his leg in that 3rd set. He played through it, but it just felt like he was a little bit out of sorts after that. And Musetti's consistency wore him down, and Musetti's better on clay. So nice win there for Musetti in 4, cashing our dog at plus 144 for that one. Moving on to the matchups that we ended up seeing on Monday, you had I'd say, minimal number of drama, or amount of drama. You saw Zverev win in a set and a half because Griekspoor got injured and quit, as Zverev did win 6-4, 3-0. Unfortunate, Griekspoor was up early. I think he was up 3-1. Then he fell apart, and Zverev beat him. But either way, Griekspoor got injured and had to quit. Not a total shock, because he had a couple of really long matches that might have taken something out of him. But either way, nice job by Zverev to rally in the first set and then win in a retirement there in the second set. Saw Djokovic beat Norrie, which was extremely straightforward, as he only dropped 7 games in the entire match. Norrie had some moments there mid-second set to make it interesting, but he failed every chance, and Joker eventually broke him, and it felt like Norrie just couldn't serve. It felt like Joker's return was on point the entire match, and Norrie has no firepower at all, and Joker was able to wear him down. So nice job by Joker. Couple of, once again, pressure moments there where Norrie could have gotten back into the match, and Joker did a good job of keeping his nerve. Some good high-quality first serving at times to help fight off some break points, and either way got the job done there in straight sets. Bublik, though, the only upset that we actually had in the entire round, was able to beat Draper. Did like Bublik to win a set that got there, and you ended up seeing him win the match outright in 4. I do think you're looking at a spot where Bublik was a guy who I thought was being a bit I'd say he was being mispriced. I thought Draper was going to win. I'm not going to tell you I picked Bublik to win outright. But Draper, I watched earlier in the event. I thought that he was pretty up and down. Dropped a set to Bellucci. Dropped a set to Monfils. Should have been 2 sets. Killed Fonseca. But I did think that Draper was more vulnerable than people kind of were viewing him. And they were kind of overreacting to one match against Fonseca while ignoring the struggles he had in the first 2 rounds. So I do think that Draper was overvalued. Thought Bublik's serve might get him a set, and instead he won the entire match. So congrats to Bublik, who played incredible tennis for about 2 hours straight. He made every drop shot, basically, and I felt like he could do no wrong for the entire match, basically. It felt like every shot he chose was unorthodox and successful. And Draper was constantly on the back foot. The drop shots were executed perfectly, and Draper just had no answers. And Bublik did a good job of not completely unraveling. He almost did while serving it out for the match. He had a couple of double faults in there. Draper had a bunch of break points, couldn't convert any of those. And the point is, you ended up seeing Draper, who I think Ginger puts it properly. I thought Draper was fine today. I didn't think he was really that bad. The serve wasn't as great as usual, I'd say, but the point is, Bublik just felt like he was one step ahead the entire match, and the unpredictability just kept Draper off balance the entire match. But I thought he played fine. Bublik was just out of his mind, and he won in 4 sets. Nice job by him to advance to his first ever Grand Slam quarterfinal, and he ended up having some emotional reaction afterwards, which was pretty nice to see. But either way, point is, a nice job by Bublik pulling off the upset at around 7-1. For the last match, though, you had a pretty standard Sinner match, a complete ass-kicking, which was very straightforward. Now, Rublev did have a chance there in the 3rd set. He had a break point when they were tied 3-3, and he did not convert, and Sinner eventually got the break to win the match. Rublev never stood a chance. It felt like it was over as soon as it started. Rublev had 2 break points to start the match in the first game. It was 15-40, did not convert. And at that point, it was over. Sinner destroyed him. I think he won 5 straight games after that, and it felt like Rublev was just constantly being pushed back and forth to run around the court, and he got destroyed. I got nothing else to add there. It was definitely an ugly matchup. Wasn't as bad as the Leheshka match the round prior against Sinner, but damn, Sinner's on the warpath. He is absolutely annihilating everybody. And the one exception, of course, was the final against Alcaraz a couple weeks ago. But besides that, he has been destroying everyone, and he's been doing so once again in this event. So we'll see how anybody can get in front of him. It will have to be Bublik for the next round. So I'll mention the odds in a second. But ouch. Like, congrats on the win, Bublik, but damn, you have a tough task for you available in the next few days. But either way, point is a pretty straightforward couple of matches for Monday. The matches on Sunday were kind of straightforward too. You had a couple more 4-setters, but no 5 sets at all. No insane amounts of drama. But the favorites mostly won, with the exception of Bublik, who was fantastic. So either way, point is before we get into the actual breakdown of the quarters, a brief recap of how we've actually done so far in the outrights for the quarter markets. For the first quarter, we have Sinner at -188, did have Draper plus 750. He lost, but Sinner's still available. He's a massive favorite, so Sinner should work out pretty well there in the first quarter. Second quarter automatic winner, we had Joker plus 250 and Zverev 3-1. A lot of people liked the, I'd say, dark horse candidate in Cerundolo. Yeah, good luck with that. Lost in the first round. But Joker and Zverev guaranteed winner there in the second quarter. For the third quarter, we had Fritz at 650, who lost immediately, but we do have Musetti at 225, and of course he's a decent favorite here against Tiafoe in the third quarter. That works out pretty well. For the fourth quarter, we have one guy left, actually. It is not Alcaraz. Alcaraz was like -450, so we skipped him, but we have Tommy Paul at 16-1. So we have that in our back pocket. We had Ruud at 7-1 as well, who lost early because of the injury to Borges, but Paul's still available at 16-1. So once again, in theory, we can sweep all 4 quarters. It's probably not going to happen. Like, I don't see Paul winning against Alcaraz, but the point is he's 16-1. We did a pretty good job with the quarters. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we cash some long, I can't even say some long shots because everything we have is relatively short. And Joker and Zverev are automatic winners. We got to guarantee 250 or 3-1 on that one. But Paul pulling off the upset would be incredible. That'd be a 16-1 ticket in our back pocket. We'll see what happens. Maybe a live bet midway if he wins a set. So keep that in mind. For the outrights to win the event, though, we have Alcaraz at plus 120. We have Sinner at 225, and Ruud did lose already, but we already have the 2 favorites. We did not reinvent the wheel, and no reason to do that, because Sinner looks unbeatable, and Alcaraz has been dropping sets, but he's still right now the best clay player in the world. Feel good about those guys. So we'll see what happens. But either way, point is a pretty good tournament so far for the outrights, and we'll see what happens moving forward for the quarterfinal matches taking place on Tuesday and Wednesday. Time to move on into the actual breakdown of the matches for the quarterfinals. For that, they're brought to you by our sponsor, which is EdgeBoost, because they're the first ever bank for bettors, ensuring that all your gambling transactions are approved. Use fees, non-balance cash records as well. 100% approval from deposits. Sign up today. EdgeBoost.com, code SGPN. And when you sign up for the account this week, you'll get a free Refs Are Terrorists t-shirt. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs to claim your free shirt. We're also brought to you by Fantasy because they're going along with the NBA playoffs and the NBA Finals with their extender bonus. Hop in game 1. The longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. You can also use the promo code SGPN when you sign up for your new account to get a special pick and a first-time visit offer up to $1K in bonus cash on fantasy promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by NYRA Bets because the Belmont Stakes is coming up at Saratoga. You can bet on it with NYRA Bets. Sign up today and use the promo code SGPN25 to get a $25 free bet plus a $200 deposit match bonus. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just getting started, NYRA Bets helps make it easy to jump in on the action. Exclusive offer is just for the Belmont Stakes, so don't wait. Join now. Claim your free $25 Belmont bet today at NYRABets.com. So SGPN25. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finish recapping the round of 16. Time to move on into the preview of the quarterfinals. Starting off with the matchups that are going to be happening on Tuesday. First match will be between Tiafoe and Musetti. Now, for this one, you have Musetti as a decent favorite. He's -500. I mean, he's a massive favorite here. Tiafoe's around plus 380 for the spread, -6.5 for Musetti, plus 6.5 for Tiafoe. The over-unders at 36.5 games. For the set spread, you have Musetti minus 2.5 sets at around plus 132. Tiafoe to win a set is minus 170. You can find the over 3.5 sets, though, at minus 140 if you want to go for a bit of length on that one. And the point is Musetti is expected to steamroll in this one. Now, Tiafoe said before has been perfect. He's not dropped a set yet in the event. Musetti has dropped some sets, but he's been really good, and we know that he's a top 5 clay player in the world. Won the bronze medal here last year, made the final Monte Carlo. He's a monster on clay, so no shock there. Now, for the head-to-head history, it's actually been interesting because you have seen Tiafoe give Musetti a run for his money. Tiafoe's actually won 3 of the last 4 meetings. They faced off in Cincinnati last year. Tiafoe won in straight sets. Stuttgart on grass 2 years ago, and Tiafoe did win that one in 3. So Musetti beat Tiafoe on clay in 3 sets in Rome, 2023. They also faced off on clay in Parma in an exhibition, or I should say a challenger, in 2020, and you saw Tiafoe win in 3. So point is, there is one common theme here. A lot of competitive sets of tennis and a lot of competitive matches because you're looking at 5 of the last 6 completed matches, not including the retirement that happened in the United Cup in 2023. So out of fully completed matches, they have faced off a grand total of 6 times, and 5 of those 6 have not ended in straight sets. So Tiafoe's actually given a pretty decent run into these matches, and he's actually won a couple. Am I pick him to win this one? No. I think that Musetti's going to win. I think he's too good on clay. But I do think that Tiafoe can find an opening if his serve is on point and Musetti maybe struggles with the unforced errors for a set. I can definitely see Tiafoe winning a set. I'm not going to pick Tiafoe to win the match. I can understand why people might be tempted by it. I'm not going to take Tiafoe against a top 5 clay player in the world. I'm just not going to do that. Now, Tiafoe's draw has been favorable. It's not his fault, but I have to point it out because so far he's beaten Safulin, Carreño Busta, Korda, and Altmaier. So not exactly a murderer's row competition. Musetti, though, by comparison, did beat Navone, who's solid on clay, did beat Rune, who we know is a solid clay player, won Barcelona earlier this year, beating Alcaraz in the final. So Musetti's beaten better competition. He's the better clay player. Tiafoe's been solid, but I do think Musetti will win. And if I had to go for an actual prediction here, give me 4 sets in that one. I think he'll end up dropping a set while winning the match, and I think he ends up winning this one in 4. So I don't want the over 3.5 sets as my thought for that one. I see Andrew mentioning that the Alcaraz, Sinner, and Musetti quarter parlay is plus 400. Any reason to hedge? I would not. I think Alcaraz will beat Paul. I think that Sinner is going to beat Bublik, and I think Musetti, as I just said, is going to beat Tiafoe. So I would let it ride. If you want to live bet hedge it, if somebody gets into trouble, maybe. But you feel good about Alcaraz and Sinner because you assume they win every Grand Slam match. We're probably headed to a final between Alcaraz and Sinner at this point. And Musetti's better than Tiafoe. So I think at this point at 4-1, I would let it ride and go from there. You do have the Musetti match first, which is probably the trickiest out of the 3. So it is a little bit of a sweat if you are looking at it that way. But I would let it ride at 4-1. You've gotten everything that you wanted so far in the event. You have all 3 guys as massive favorites in the quarterfinals. There's no reason to really hedge at this point, Andrew. So I would let it ride. Cayetano saying that he thinks that Tiafoe should end up winning a set or at least forcing a breaker. I think he makes the match competitive. I think Musetti beats him. But Tiafoe, I will give a courtesy set to. He's earned it. He's been good enough. I think he'll be able to win a set in this one. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for my thoughts on that matchup. Moving on to the next one between Paul and Alcaraz. Alcaraz, massive favorite, but not the biggest favorite in the entire quarterfinals. You have Alcaraz at minus 1250. Paul's plus 770. For the spread, you have minus 7 for Alcaraz, plus 7 for Paul. The over-unders at 32.5 games. For the sets, you have the over 3.5 sets at plus 100. You have the under 3.5 sets at minus 130. You have Paul to win a set at minus 110. Alcaraz winning straight sets is minus 120. The question is pretty simple. Will Paul look decent enough to win a set? Because we've seen Alcaraz win, but he's dropped sets in 3 straight matches. Dropped a set to Morozin, dropped a set to Zoomer, and dropped a set to Shelton. Probably should have been 2 sets to Shelton. But still, point is he has dropped a set in 3 straight. So Paul, though, has been looking very sharp. He had a couple of marathons. Had a 4-set win against Moeller, beat Fuchsovics in 5 and beat Kashanov in 5, but got the very nice, basically bye in the last round where he was able to beat up on on Papirin, who was useless for about 2 hours. So Paul got the exact matchup he needed to kind of coast into the matchup here. The issue is the admin issue, which, to be honest, I'm tired of trying to fade. It's burned me 2 times in a row. Paul's been good. I'll put it that way. He looks fine in matches occasionally as the match progresses. If it's physical enough, he will start to feel it in the later sets. That happened against Kashanov. He won anyway. Now, do I think he'll be able to make it difficult for Alcaraz? Maybe for a set. That history we know has been close in years past, as we actually saw Paul beat Alcaraz a couple of times. Paul was actually 2-1 a lifetime. Alcaraz, though, has not lost since. Beat him in 3 sets Cincinnati, beat him in 4 in Wimbledon, and beat him in the Olympics here last year in straight sets, but there was a breaker, 9-7 in the second set. So based on the history here, we have seen Paul give Alcaraz a run for his money, and Alcaraz has not been great in the event so far. Survive and advance, he's been winning. You could argue that he's saving his best for high-quality opponents, but either way, point is Paul, based on his form, I think can actually win a set here. I'm going to give him a shot to win a set. I like Alcaraz in 4 as a prediction here. I do think eventually the match will be physical, and I see Paul immediately falling apart. And I can see a very lopsided set if Paul's body betrays him at some point here. But Alcaraz, unlike the other guys, will take advantage of the injury at some point. I do see Paul winning a set before it kicks in. But Alcaraz at this point is a massive favorite. You got to wonder where the value is. And right now, he's dropped a set in 3 straight. So the value, in my opinion, is on Paul to win a set. Give me the over, 3.5 sets at even money. I think even money is a good price. Give me Alcaraz in 4 for my thoughts on that one. Moving on, though, to the matchups taking place on Wednesday. This is probably the matchup of the round, Zverev against Djokovic. Now, for this one, you have a very, very even line. It's minus 110 apiece. So we finally have a close line. I'll mention the center line in a second, but the cheapest line of the other 3 matches is minus 500. I'm just thankful we have one match that's actually close on paper. Now, Zverev and Joker is minus 110 apiece. You're looking at the over-under at 40.5 or 39.5. For the set spread, you have Joker minus 1.5 sets at plus 167. You have Zverev minus 1.5 sets at plus 181. The over 3.5 sets is minus 260. The over 4.5 sets is plus 195. Now, Joker, we saw lose to Zverev in the Australian Open this year in a retirement after Zverev did end up winning the first set. Was a serious injury Joker was dealing with. He tried to battle it out. You could argue that's actually a bad look for Zverev because Joker was compromised and he still went to a breaker. So the fact is, he still pushed Zverev to the brink in the first set, despite having a messed up foot, which is not a good look for Zverev there, but still, a win's a win. The history, though, has been close. Joker has been on a pretty good run, at least in this event. He's not dropped a set yet. Zverev, though, has dropped 1 set. Lost the first set to De Jong, but he beat Kaboli and beat Griekspoor, so he's been looking fine so far in the event. We also know that he's a defending runner-up. He's been in the quarters many times here. He's comfortable here. We'll see how he looks in this one against Djokovic. Now, Zverev, I will point out, has been decent against Joker. He's won 3 of the last 4, including the injury that was suffered in the Australian Open that caused him to quit. So Zverev is 3-1 recently. However, they have faced off a couple of times in Grand Slams, and Joker's been really good in Grand Slams. He is 3-0. I beat him in the U.S. Open in, 2021. Beat him in the Australian Open 2021, and they faced off in the French Open 2019. Joker won that one in straight sets, but the other 2 went to 4 and 5 sets. So you're looking at what has been a pretty competitive history between them. Joker, I would say right now, is playing better tennis, but not by a lot. I think it's close. Now, you could argue Joker hasn't played anybody. You're not wrong. I'll at least agree with you there. Because Joker, so far, he's not dropped a set yet. Beat Nori, beat Misalic, beat Muted, who's a bit tricky. And Muted did have a set point in that 3rd set before losing the breaker 7-1. And Joker did beat McDonald in the first round. So a very easy draw so far for Joker. Now it ramps up to about 11 with him facing off against Zverev in this matchup. For Zverev, though, not a really tough draw either. Kaboli can be tricky. He's won a couple of clay titles this year. He won in straight sets. Griekspoor is not easy, but he got injured. It's kind of basically a bye in that one. And De Jong has been in okay form lately. So the point is Joker's been good, but how much of it is basically current form being solid and how much of it is you had an easy draw and Joker just coasted? Probably a little bit of both if I had to break it down, but I do think the actual play that I like here, for the side, I think I am going to go with Joker, mainly based on the mental edge he has in Grand Slams against Zverev. We know Zverev, every single event, looks good, and then he implodes. It's going to happen at some point. We're waiting for it. But I do think that Joker, he's healthy. He looks good. Zverev will make it difficult. I can see 5 sets here. I can see a very competitive matchup. I think it'll be back and forth, but I do think Joker will do a better job on big points, closing it out, fighting off a break point or two. I can see Zverev double faulting a breakaway. I just think it's the same breakdown for Zverev that we have in every big match, which is him looking good and then falling apart. And I feel like that's going to happen. And if you end up giving an inch to Joker, you're going to end up giving a mile because he's going to take every advantage you possibly can. I see Zverev eventually fumbling the match away. Give me Joker in 5 for this one. I like the over in games. I like the, once again, Joker money line, but I do think that you're expecting a bit of a marathon here. I can see a very close matchup that I am going to pick Joker to win for this one. And moving on to the last match, we saved the worst for last based on the odds. You have Sinner against Bublik. Nice run for Bublik, beating Draper in the round of 16. First ever Grand Slam quarter. Your reward is Sinner, who's minus 5,000 to win the match. Minus 5,000 in a quarterfinal. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, I understand it. I'll put it that way. And I am picking Sinner to win, obviously. Minus 5,000. Damn, man, they're not giving anybody a chance. I see Sashi asking if I am concerned about Novak's fitness. I think that the fact that he's had so many easy matches in the event so far should help him. He did have a bit of a blister issue earlier today against Nori, which was not a big deal at all, but I'll at least mention he got a visit from the trainer to help out with some blister stuff early on. I think that fitness could maybe play an issue in theory, but I don't trust Zverev's mental game enough. And I do think that Joker, who's one of the most fit players of all time, he's not as fit as he used to be. I think his fitness will be less of a concern compared to Zverev's mental, I'd say, weaknesses. I feel like Zverev's mental flaws are a lot more concerning than Joker's physical flaws in a hypothetical marathon. So you could argue maybe a little bit mid-match. I'm more concerned with Zverev in big points. I'll put it that way. So based on the concern level, I'll put the Zverev big point concern meter from 1 to 10 at a 9. I'll put the Joker fitness concern at a 5. So based on that, I have more faith in Joker than Zverev based on that. I see Gerolite is asking about a Bublik who cried. Does getting the bag preclude him from... Look, I do feel happy for Bublik that he was able to make a very good run. Thought that he had a very nice press conference, actually. I thought that he had a couple of really insightful thoughts. I recommend actually checking that out. I thought his press conference was very, I'd say, insightful. I'll put it that way. But the problem is Bublik, I think, is a solid player, but we know he's always a head case, or at least there is a head case potentially looming there in his mind. And against Sinner, I think he's got no chance. I'll put it that way. Can he win a set? Maybe. We saw Sinner lose a set to Mutet last year, and you could argue the drop shots can maybe have an impact on Sinner. We know Sinner has a pretty deep return position. Maybe if the drop shots are on point, he can keep Sinner off balance, shorten the points, and try to find a way for, once again, Sinner to be put off balanced. But in reality, Sinner's going to kill this guy. I think Sinner, I've said this before, I think he's number 1 in the world. I think that his ceiling is as high as anybody I've ever seen before at this point. He is an absolute problem. And I don't know what you're supposed to do about it. Alcaraz has beaten him like 4 times in the last year or so. Besides him, nobody can beat this damn guy. He beats everybody besides Alcaraz. And watching the last couple of rounds, he's not dropped a set either, by the way. It hasn't even been close. Leheshka won 3 games. Leheshka's won an ATP title. He's not a bad player. He's like a top 20 caliber player. He got destroyed. Rublev has been a Masters 1000 winner twice. He got destroyed. I don't know what you're supposed to do against this guy. Sinner is an absolute monster. He's a great returner. He does everything well besides beating Alcaraz, but still. Point is, Sinner, I just think is going to destroy this guy. I can understand the argument of people wanting to root for Bublik because it's fun. People also dislike Sinner because of the steroid issue or the suspension. So they have some bias built in. Bublik's not winning. Stop it. I see a bunch of like posts on Twitter and social media talking about Bublik and how he's going to shock the world and how they're ready for him to win a Grand Slam. Are you out of your damn mind? Bublik's not winning a Grand Slam. He's not going to beat Sinner, then Djokovic, and Alcaraz. So I don't know what this type of fan fiction people are writing for Bublik. Can you imagine if he ends up winning a Grand Slam? No! Of course I can't imagine. It's not going to happen. Like, what are you talking about? I understand you're rooting for it to happen. He's going to lose. He's going to lose probably ugly, if I'm being honest here. But if you want to make an argument for Bublik, maybe the team total over and you hope for a breaker, or the Sinner team total over and you're picking Bublik to serve well enough to win, to at least force a breaker. But there is no chance that Bublik's winning. I'll put it this way. Bublik, we know, won a 500 title on, I think it was like grass a couple years ago. He's a solid overall player. If he ends up beating Sinner, which is not going to happen, if he does, it would be on, I'd say it'd be on a short list of the biggest upsets I've ever seen in my entire life in tennis. It is that unlikely that Bublik wins this. So Sinner is going to win. If he doesn't, it would be one of the most shocking upsets I've ever seen in my entire life. The point is, can he cover this massive spread of 9.5 games? He's getting 9.5 at -136. So you could probably find 9 or maybe an 8.5 for Sinner if you want to go that way. The over-under's at 28.5. Look, I think Sinner wins comfortably. I think Bublik probably loses ace sets 6-1 or 6-2 in there, which is not going to be fun. But you know what? I'll give Bublik a chance to make one set interesting. I think that we saw Rublev up the aggression. He almost forced a 7-5 in that last set before eventually Sinner got the break to win the match and win the set 6-4. I'll go with the potential team total for Sinner. I'll go with the over 18.5. Am I going to bet this? No. I think there's really no value at all on the entire match. Sinner in straight sets, just for reference, is about minus, what the hell is he at? It's a massive price. It's like minus 300, like minus 320. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, Sinner's probably going to kill him. Bublik maybe can copy what Mutet did last year. Hope Sinner short circuits early, maybe steal the first set, and try to use drop shots and unpredictability to keep Sinner off balance. But in every baseline rally, Sinner's going to kill this guy. The point is, Bublik has to try to come to the net. He's going to have to try to shorten points. He'll have to try some drop shots. But if you have neutral baseline rallies, Sinner is better at every other area, and Bublik has problems. So based on that, I will go with Sinner probably having a tough, maybe set in there, but besides that, it will be one-way traffic. Boston's mentioning 6-3, 6-4, 6-2. Yeah, that's kind of what I got. I'll give Bublik 1-7-5 in there to be generous, but in reality, 6-3, 6-3, 7-5, I guess. Like, I don't have much here, but Sinner's a monster. I got nothing else to add. The comp that I've made, and I've been high on the Sinner train on this podcast for a long time. I was high on Sinner before he won a Grand Slam title. We're going like 3-4 years back, pre-YouTube. I was all in on Sinner. And I said Sinner was going to be as good as Alcaraz. I was willing to die on that hill. And we are at that point. We are maybe past that point. I think Sinner is number 1 in the world. Alcaraz is number 2 as far as I'm concerned. I've been very high on Sinner for a long time. And damn, he is really, really good. The comparison I made, though, on Twitter today, which I feel pretty strongly about, he has a lot of peak Federer to his game. Maybe not stylistically, but in terms of results. He is so dominant that it feels like the opponents have no chance at all when they step onto the court. It feels like the match is over 2 games in every time he's on the court. And it's insane because he doesn't lose to anybody. Sinner loses to Alcaraz. I know he lost to Medvedev on grass, which was kind of a shocker there in 5. And Rublev beat him 1 time. But besides that, he has been on the warpath. Dating back to last year in Cincinnati, which was, I think, like August, basically. So last year's summer, Sinner is 45-2, and the only 2 losses are Alcaraz. He's 45-0 since Cincinnati last year against everybody not named Alcaraz. That is absolutely nuts. He doesn't lose to anybody at this point. He is dominant, and I compare him to Prime Federer because there's a sense of not just winning, but dominance, where if the other player wins 10 games in the match, you're impressed that the other guy actually won 10 games. Like, Rinderknech gets a round of applause for forcing a 7-5 in the final set of the first round. Sinner is as dominant of a player that I've seen just on a match-in, match-out basis. He won the ATP finals in like the fewest games ever at the end of last year. I don't really know how you beat this guy. Alcaraz has the talent and the variety to make it difficult for Sinner, and that's kind of how he can beat Sinner. But the average Joe, the average top player not named Alcaraz, how the hell do you beat this guy? He's good at everything. The return's great, the first serve is very good, the forehand's insane, the backhand is very good. He has really no flaws in his entire game besides occasionally the first serve percentage. I don't know what you do against the guy. So give me Sinner to once again destroy this guy in straight sets. But I got nothing else to add. I think for the over-under, I mean, if you're picking a 7-5, I guess in theory you're going over, but I actually ended up with the under because I had a 7-5 with a 6-3 and a 6-3. So I guess I'm on the under for that one. But look, I'm happy for Bublik. It's a great run. I'm proud of him for making it this far. But damn, Sinner's going to kill this guy. I am not giving Bublik a chance in hell. That's where I'm at for this one. Kaitana's mentioning that Joker was also incredible today. If we're going based on Joker's prime, Joker would actually let his other players, his opponents, play a little bit, where at least Joker and Nadal are not going to blow you off the court. They'll last you in rallies, and they'll let you self-destruct, and they'll eventually destroy you. But Federer had the power element that Nadal and Joker really did not have in their primes, and that's the main thing I noticed with Sinner playing in comparison to prime Federer. He just hits the ball so much harder than everyone else, like so much harder, and nobody has a chance. And we saw it against Rublev. Rublev, it's very hard, and Sinner's bullying him around the court for 2 hours. Like, there's nothing you can do. So, yeah, anyway, give me Sinner in a pretty dominant performance here. I see Mr. mentioned that Sinner can't beat Tsitsipas. To be fair, they've not played in a while. So a lot of those numbers might actually be a little bit, I'd say, skewed to I don't even know if I can say prime Sinner, because Sinner is still very young. I get what you're saying, but the point is they faced off 9 times. Tsitsipas is currently 6-3. Sinner has won 2 of the last 3, but yeah, I get what you're saying. They've not faced off those since last year Monte Carlo. I think if they faced off now, Sinner would kill the guy. But yes, technically that is true too. Tsitsipas has been very good historically against Sinner, but a lot of that is based on pre-current form Sinner, kind of skewing those numbers in favor of Tsitsipas. Anyway, though, it's going to wrap it up for the actual breakdown of the matchups in the quarters. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. Before we get into the lock and dog, a reminder that we're brought to you by our sponsor, which is Circa Ultimate Fantasy Giveaway. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, giving away the Ultimate Fantasy experience for a 12-person league in, once again, Vegas. So you get the draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for your stay. You'll get a limo ride to from the airport, a 5K tab for a stadium swim, and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. You'd also get 15% off everything on the Circa properties with a promo code SGP15. Enter at Ultimate Fantasy Ball contest for free. Enter it at sportsgamblingpodcast.com or Circa, sportsgambling.com or CIRCA. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, because Rhythm, we've talked about many times on the show, they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trend. They are AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's models have consistently won, and they have a high ROI. And you can also use their Power Trends every day, updated every day, exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed picks. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. You know that we'll be doing so. Try to be free for a week, though, by using the link sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RETHMM. We're also brought to you by MyBookieADG, because they're the place for every sport. They have the playoffs. They have the NHL Stanley Cup. They also have tennis. They have golf, UFC, you name it. They're available at a ton of locations as well as crypto. For all info payouts, easy deposit and sign up for your new account. Use the promo code SGPN to get a 100% match up to 1K. Terms and conditions apply. MyBookieADG, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finished going through the preview of the matchups taking place on Tuesday and Wednesday in the quarterfinals. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. For the lock, I'm going to go with a same-game parlay. I found one book that went rogue on a very obscure prop, but the line differential is so massive, I'm required to take this prop in the parlay. So I am going to pick Sinner to basically dominate the match, but I found the niche prop that I do like in the match, which you're going to laugh at, by the way, when I tell you the price. But it's going to be a parlay. First of all, give me Joker and Zverev over 3.5 sets. I will not take a straight set win for either guy. You could argue Joker might win in straight sets, maybe, but I think Zverev's good enough on clay to win a set from Joker. I think he's mentally weak enough to drop a set to Joker as well. I see at least 4 sets. Over 3.5 sets, like minus 260. I agree with it. You're looking at 5 of the last 7 head-to-head meetings not ending in straight sets, excluding the Australian Open retirement that Joker had a couple months ago. But the point is, I see a close matchup here. Think it might go 5. Give me the over 3.5 sets of the first leg. But I found Bublik and Sinner. No 6-0 sets. 0-6-0 sets. So if Bublik wins a game in each set, you win this. It's at minus 275 on DraftKings. It's minus 550 on FanDuel. I know Bublik might get killed, but no 6-0 set is insane. One game in each set. He needs to win one game for a good server at minus 275. Hell yeah. I'll take that in a parlay. That was on DraftKings. Give me the parlay there for this one. Bublik, though, is a solid server. I think he can hold. Rublev got destroyed today. Still won a game in each set minimum. I think that 6-0 minus 275 is an insane price. I have to take that on principle. Give me that as a parlay sweetener. Give me Joker and Zverev over 3.5 sets parlayed with the Bublik and Sinner. No 6-0 set of minus 114. Now, DraftKings, though, was pretty annoying because you actually don't have the over 3.5 sets option available for the match. So you have to create a same-game parlay on DraftKings and take Joker to win a set and Zverev to win a set. That's how you do it. That's how you bet the over 3.5 sets. It's really annoying. They just don't have a default market for it. But you can do a same-game parlay. Joker to win a set, Zverev to win a set, parlayed with Bublik and Sinner, no 6-0 at minus 114. I got to take that. The odds are too good. Give me that as my lock for this one. For my dog, give me the Musetti and Tiafoe match. Give me the same play as last episode. Give me Musetti to win and both players to win a set at plus 134. Musetti money line is about minus 500 or so. Musetti, though, has lost a set in 2 straight. Tiafoe's been playing well. Weak competition, maybe, but still he's looked pretty good on clay so far. They have faced off in a bunch of competitive matchups in the past, even on clay. 5 of the 6 career meetings in the head-to-head that were completed ended up not ending in straight sets, excluding the 2013 match that ended in retirement. So you have seen a lot of back-and-forth battles between them, and I can see Tiafoe doing enough damage to cash this prop for us. Both clay meetings in the head-to-head, though, the dated still wanted to mention, they did not end in straight sets. The fact is, Musetti has definitely been the better player. He's worthy of being a massive favorite. But the fact that he's minus 490 and I can get plus money for him to drop a set while winning, and he's done so in 2 straight matches, and the head-to-head has been very competitive. I love the price. Give me Musetti to win. Both players to win a set again at plus 134 as my dog for the show. So once again, the lock on the episode is going to be Joker and Zverev over 3.5 sets, parlayed with the no 6-0 set in the Bublik and Sinner match, and that parlay pays out at minus 114. For the dog, I'm going to go with the matchup between Musetti and Tiafoe. Give Musetti to win and both players want to set deja vu prop from last episode. We'll go with that at plus 134 as my dog. That's going to wrap it up, though, for the show. Back once again for the semifinals in the French Open. Until next time on Twitter, Reichel Radio. Good luck to all.